Finally, finally, finally. Finally got it working, guys. Sorry for the delay. OBS would not connect no matter what I did. But I finally got it connected. Let me know if the stream is okay. The quality of everything is okay. And we'll get started. Hi, Eve, Tommy, Brett, Hector. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know that the stream's doing okay. Good. Thank you, Eve. Okay. So we're just going to talk. I'm just going to talk to you guys like I talk to the Discord. Okay. And we're going to go through this a little bit together and see if we can figure out when this might end. Okay. All right. So I was looking at this correction the other day and just breaking it down the way I do with legs and connectors. And let's take a look at this leg from this high. Okay. Let me see if I can get down a little bit lower here without it cutting it off. Looks like I can. Okay. There, that's better. All right, so I really, when I look at this correction and I get in here and I break it down, I know that even I have called this leg a 5-wave move here, okay? But when I really look at it, okay, the way that I analyze things, I really want to say that these are B waves in here, okay? That we are coming down in a series of zigzags. And this may not be true, but we're just going to talk about it, okay? These are all zigzags. Let me pull this up a little bit. See if I can squeeze it in here. And the reason I say this is because if we take a look at the white boxes, okay, all of these corrections are approximately the same size in time, okay? These white boxes. Now, if this is going to end up being a B wave here, it obviously needs to roll over here very soon. But these white boxes being B waves and the yellow ones being X waves. Okay. But the problem I run into, and obviously the middle one here is a bigger X wave. So it ends up being a smaller degree WXY right here. This would end up being a WXY. Okay. And then higher degree WXY, with this being a higher degree X, for those of you that may not know Elliott Wave, okay, this would end up being a big complex move to the downside, and then a bigger Y down here, okay. But as you know from watching my videos, I don't allow my WXYs to come past the 1.382, and if we take a fib extension on this, it goes way past that. So that's why I've been shying away from this thought process. Or it's very close is what it is. Okay, so we're like, if it's going to happen, it would have to end here, and I don't have a way to finagle an ABC in here, okay? Unless some way that this B wave were to get much higher here, okay? And then this truncated. That would be the only way to nab this 1.382, and then we'd have one B wave that doesn't give equality to all the others. But I'm on log scale. If we switch to linear, you can see that the fib levels change. And we would easily have a C wave here that could come to the 1-to-1. Now there's a big debate, of course, whether it should be on log or it should be on linear. And I don't have, to be honest, the answer for that question, okay? Whether we should be on log or whether we should be on linear. I don't know, okay? But if we change it to linear, we have much more room for this C wave. And it could easily come down here to the top of the 2019 bull run and hold support on this big area we have here that's coming in right to the 1-to-1. So it got me thinking, okay? It got me thinking about this and how that would look. The equality would be perfect, okay? And I started pulling more fibs. So this one is coming obviously from the top and the whole thing, okay? So then I pulled from here. If I can get it to do it here. Get up there. Hold on a second. I'm going to remove this box so we can get this perfect. Go up there. I'll move it back to linear in just a second. Okay, so we have this overlap going on right here now with those two. Now I'm going to pull a fib for this last leg, assuming that we're going to get a C leg. And you'll see that it comes in. If we were to pivot now, say, look where this is overlapping. It's pretty compelling. So pulling from the top to the middle to the X and down, we're getting a 1.236 hit. Pulling from this whole leg, we're getting the white one and then the orange one. All lining up right in here. Now, I know that's a scary number, guys. Okay. And Sleepy Bull log scale is my preference too. Okay. It definitely is my preference too. But this is something to think about, okay? That I'm going to go back on log just because it's a better, picture that way. It's something to think about that maybe that's the case, okay? And we're going to get one more leg taking us approximately down of equal size, right? Do I know for sure? Absolutely not, okay? But I will say this, the market does like to be symmetrical, okay? So is it this big WXY? I would say that if we get another rollover that comes down here, I'm definitely going to be thinking that, okay? And we'll have to see at that point, do we come out of here, obviously in the 5-wave move and take out this territory? Okay. This would be the territory that we would want to get above with a 5-wave move. So this was an idea I had, and I wanted to share it. Okay. Yes, log scale is my preference too. Absolutely. And if it isn't a WXY, and that's just not the case, and this is a 5-wave move here that's either done or has one more rollover, either way, if we get this one more rollover, this is going to be the area, okay, that we really, really need to be watching. Stonehammer, yes. So that's why I said, which one is correct? I don't really know. I wish I did have the answer to that, okay? Because I hate the idea, or I hate that there is a linear and a log. I wish they didn't exist. Honestly, I wish they didn't exist. But if we roll over again, okay, we're going to be thinking the same thing. Can this be a C leg or a 5th wave? Either way. Okay. And this is definitely going to be the area that we need to pay attention, because we're going to have a 2-day divergence here. Okay. And at this point, it's going to be about the same thing. It doesn't matter whether this is a 5th or a C. We're going to want to take out this area right here in price. If it takes it out, flips it to the support, obviously that would be a 5-wave move. Okay. And then we'll have to see, what does the market do? 3, 4, 5, or is it just giving us a rally? Okay. But my thinking is if we roll over again, we're at least, I would hope, to get some type of rally back up. Okay. The only bad thing that could happen is that we roll over and this 2-day divergence isn't enough, and we 3-wave it back up and don't get through this order block. Okay. That would mean, obviously, that this white 4 is happening. Okay. So this is obviously a wait and see thing, okay? Because none of us have crystal balls. Unfortunately, I don't have one. And we're going to have to wait and see. Does this white 4 play out? Or is it a C wave, Y wave, 5th wave? Doesn't matter what it is. What matters is how we come off that bottom. Okay. So we could analyze these counts to death. We could even try and say that we have a diagonal here. Okay. Because there's no rule about the 4th wave overlapping the 1. Okay. So if this was to, say, come higher and then come down again, we're still looking for the same thing. Even if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We are still looking for this area to be taken out. So what I'm getting at is all counts lead into, what is this going to do? And all counts lead into, does it roll over one more time? And if it does, we'll have 2-day divergence, and hopefully we can rip out of here. Doesn't matter what the count is at this point. Okay. What's most important is, what do we do? Okay. Now currently, let's take a look on this lower time frame. Let me move my little trend line back here. All right, let's talk about bin, WXYXZ. That's possible, yes. They're not very common, but it's possible, yeah. Hector 4K, hey, you know, it could happen. We should never think that something can't happen, ever, okay? Because it can. Let's hope not. Well, actually, that'd be a wonderful buying opportunity, but I would feel bad for the people that are holding. But regardless, whatever, before I go into this lower time frame, regardless of whatever, however low this goes, okay? Say that we roll over, we rally, and then we're going to make this, you know, bigger correction up here. And then we come back down like this. A perfect, let me make this a little better. Okay. So say we roll over, okay? And then we rally for a B wave. And then we come back down in 5 waves, okay? And we make this big correction up here, okay? Regardless, the next move is up. And we will take out this all-time high. Okay? Bear markets end. They do. I mean, if we end up doing that, okay? Hold on, let me get to the right chart here. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let's just, so we've analyzed this count to death, okay? And there's so many different views on what it could be, all right? But what we do know is that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles here. If this is the way we want to look at it, 4 bull runs. If we want to call these cycles, we've had bear market, bear market, bear market, and now another bear market, okay? Eventually, and if you take a look at these corrections, they're sort of about the same size to each other. Eventually, we are going to need a bigger correction because we are going to be, eventually, whether it's here or it's later, we're going to be in a bigger degree correction because we're in a higher degree cycle. So whether this is 1 and this is 2, okay, or 1's here and 2's here, whatever the case may be, or this is a 3 and this is a 4, eventually we're in a higher degree correction than these back here. Whether it's going to happen here or it's going to happen later. Okay. If we go to the something that's been around a very long time, okay, eventually, okay, we're going to have a correction that looks like this. Eventually, we're going to have a correction that looks like this. Where we're at in the cycle, I'm not sure, okay, but this correction was sharp and ugly. Let me move this over so you guys can see it. My face is probably in the way, okay? So we had sharp correction, sideways kind of correction, bigger sideways correction. Eventually, this market will have a bigger correction than all of these. This one was 9 years. And really, this can be broken up, sort of, as a bear market. Really, this is an ABC right here. Sideways correction. I'm not saying this correction is going to be 9 years, guys, okay? I'm just saying that eventually we will get something like this. Maybe not 9 years, but a sideways dump, rally, dump that's bigger than any of the bear markets that we've had before. That's what I'm getting at. Is it going to happen now? I don't know. Okay. But it could. It could happen now. Okay. Where this is coming down for a higher degree 4. For a higher degree 4, or it's coming down for a 2. Both of them can come very deep. So if we want to come down for a 2, if we want to say this is a 1 and a 2, well, we just can't break this low. If we want to say that this is a big higher degree 3 and this is a 4, that's perfectly fine too. We're allowed to come into the prior range. Okay. We won't know which one it is. Okay. When it happens, we won't know. Because either way, we're going to rally hard. Whether it's a big 5th or it's a big 3rd. We'll know later, years from now, but we won't know immediately. Let me take a look at chat real quick, and then we'll go down and analyze this to death. Ben, yes, it could have been a WXYXZ down to 3K. Yes, Chris, it can be in a 2. SJS, this volume indicator, it is the VRVP. Visible range volume profile. And then when you go in there, if you don't want big, huge blocks and you want it to look like this. Oh, that's the wrong thing, sorry. You want to change your row size to 480. And then this here, it just moves it in and out. Like it stretches it out farther, okay? That's how you get it to look like this. All right, let's take a look at this thing. So we have this trend line coming from back here. You saw it. Let me fix it a little bit here. Okay, it's coming from back there. And we rejected off of it. We also have, and I must have deleted it. Okay, that's the bottom of the channel. Also, that's what I did. I took the channel off and used the bottom channel trend line. Okay. We have resistance, okay, that we've hit. All right, so the way that I see this, it can still be argued that this wave here is a 1 or an A wave, okay? Until we break this low, that being true is not off the table, okay? We're going to have to break the low to invalidate it. Now, if we're going to break the low, say we're going to wipe that low out, then we will just assume that this was it. This was the 3-wave move, and it's done. And we're going to look at this as a 4th wave or a B wave until we see what exactly does this do. Okay. But either way, we're looking at going down in an equal size leg of this, or we're just going to get a smaller 5 waves that just takes out the low. Okay. If we get this, we'll be calling it 5th. If we pivot back up, okay. If we come up in 3 waves and then continue down, then most likely we're getting this. Now, these legs have not given us much of a 2. I wanted to point that out. Okay, when we start dumping, we get this, lately we've been getting this ugly overlappy price action, and then down it goes. Okay. So this current structure right here is resembling the way that it looks before it pulls back and then just goes. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely happening. I'm just saying that's what it's been doing. This ugly overlapping price action, you get this correction and then just drops the bottom out. We're underneath the channel here that I have. Okay. Kind of got sidetracked there. So wave 1 or A. And then we still have the option for this to be a wave 2 or a B wave. The way that it'll happen is this is 3 waves. This is a flat. This leg partnered with this leg. This was the inner connector. Okay, this is 3 waves. And then we would come down in 3 or 5. Okay, but it ends up being like this. And instead of this being the start of something, it's the end of something. Okay? This is one idea here. Now, if we lose, the 1.236, there's not a lot of support under that. Okay? Not a lot at all. We still have the 1-to-1. Okay, that we can tag and hold. That is right here in this order block support. But I feel if we lose this bottom A wave here, or W wave, whatever you want to call it, that probably we're headed down. Okay. So, if we're going to hold this type of deal, where we're making this middle connector, and all this is going to be just a connector, and then it tries to use this leg over here, either as a C wave that doesn't get through, or it pushes through, pulls back, and then launches, okay? I feel we need to not break this bottom right here, okay? I don't, because we came into this potential little wave 1 right here, we've invalidated this being some type of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? There's not enough legs in there for this to be the start of something, right? I don't see it that way. I know that some are still trying to make this an expanding diagonal, but I just don't see it that way, guys. Maybe I'm wrong, okay? But it's the same invalidation. I think they're doing something like, oh, I know what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. There's just too much overlap in there. But it's the same invalidation this low. So if we come under the 1.236, then we're invalidating that too. What else? You remind me of my history teacher. Well, yeah, I know. I've been told that before. It's the glasses, I guess. I don't like it too much that I'm wearing glasses, but it is what it is, right? We all get older. I feel like I'm forgetting a scenario. Give me 1 second. That was the old bullish count that didn't work out. That's the one I just showed you, where we don't lose this 1.236. Here's the B wave and the C wave that either can't get through or it tries to get through. And then this is a 2. And then it's that's it, okay? The only other scenario is we're headed down. I don't have any other ideas on the table for this. Space Lord. I shared my count for that part. If you shared it, I don't see it. If anyone has a count that is something different than I have, I am will take a look at it. I am always open to others' ideas, for sure, because I don't claim to be a know-it-all by any means. But let me say this. If we can flip this to support, okay, so say we hold this as an ending leg, and we can push above here, okay, and get above this 200 MA, it's on, guys, if we flip that to support, because all of this is insufficiency. Okay. And like I tell my Discord, we get above here and we flip it to support. Every breakout trader, every person in FOMO land is going to FOMO into here, pushing this higher. And there is a very big chance that that will get filled in and we'll come back up to here. Okay. And then we'll have to see, can we flip that to support? All right. So the key right now is, can we make this an ending wave? Okay. And can we break back up and not find this as resistance again? Pay attention to this. Like I said, these twos have been non-existent. So if it's going to go bear, it's probably just, this could be the pullback here, or it has one more and then it'll tank. Okay. All right. Well, that's about all I got on Bitcoin. I think somebody asked me something about it, about the monthly time frame. I don't see it. Your choice, yeah, well, it's a fact of life. We all get older, that is for sure. We all get older and everything. Nah, I won't say that live. I was going to say something probably not too appropriate, so. All right, do we have any requests then? Or anything you'd like to look on at with Bitcoin? Thank you, Maddox. That's very nice of you. Well, I guess let's take a look at ETH till you guys pop some requests in there. Actually, let's look at the DXY. Yeah. So, it's important about the DXY because we've been inverse with it. Okay. As you can see on the monthly chart here, we're creating, so far, divergence. We are right now in the 70. Okay. We don't really want this monthly to break up over 70 for Bitcoin's sake. All right. Because that would mean it could potentially wipe out this divergence. And it would mean that it's pretty bullish, more bullish than it already is. Okay. Actually, that was the 3-month time frame. Sorry. But we got the same divergence here. All right. What we don't want to see happen is that we take this extreme. That's pretty up there, but you would be surprised it could take it. All right. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep this divergence. So I have a couple ideas here. And another thing is we are way up there, guys. Like that is the monthly, the 2 weeks way up there. On every time frame, this RI is stretched way up there. Now, can it trend up here? Absolutely it can. And remain pushing higher. All right. But let's talk about this for a second. So I have two ideas. One, this is ABC. And I'm sure if you watched my videos, you know my ideas, but maybe there's someone here that this is their first time seeing it. Okay. All of this was a connector. And now we're getting a partner leg for this ABC. And this would be the first leg of it, which could extend higher. We'd get some type of pullback, and then another leg way up there, equal size to this one. That would be bad. But here's the thing. This correction, when this leg is finished, this correction could be very big. I'm up on the 2-week time frame. So every single candle is going to be a 2-week candle. This right here was a 2017 bull run. And this was the one we just had. So even this correction coming to the downside could definitely allow Bitcoin to rally for its fifth wave. Because that's a big, huge dump. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. All right. My other idea is that the C wave is not done. That this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 does not overlap its 1. So, and this is impulsive. This could be the fifth wave. And then we're really tanking in DXY. Now, with the way that, inflation and all that stuff is going, which one's correct, I don't know, guys. But I would think that the DXY is getting pretty close to a correction. Okay. I went over this in my last video where the evidence is there by this high peak here that this is third. The way that it reset to the bullish range, making continuous bullish divergence, that this is the 4. And now with this divergence between the 3rd and the 5th, that this is a 5th. Okay. Now the only way that it's going higher is when this corrects, that this resets again in the bullish range, giving us continuous divergence, and then it goes up again for a 5th. Then we get bearish, and then when it's over, we get this sharp rejection, and we get no continuous bullish. That's how we know that it's over, and this will be a 5-wave move. And it will take out this 4th wave territory. Okay. Now let's take a look at this leg. We have a high peak, suggesting this is the 3rd. Reset to bullish range, reset, 4th. I would think that this is the 5th wave with the divergence we have going on. Can it overtake the extreme? It can. It can overtake it. If it does that, okay, and comes up higher and wipes out this divergence, then we shift the 3 to here. Then we know we have another 4 and a 5 to go. Okay. You can put a trend line. Sorry, I'm thinking for a second here. I just noticed something. Actually, this peak has overtaken it. And I just noticed it. So that is suggesting that this is, unfortunately, that this is all a 1, potentially a 2, and that this is starting the 3. We still have it. So what we need to watch for here is, does this turn and give a higher peak? If it overtakes this, then unfortunately we haven't hit third yet. And this is 1, 2. It's in the middle of its third. It's going to get a fourth and a fifth. Yeah, unfortunately. But right now this still looks like a third, but it's borderline. Yeah. All right, do we have some requests? I think we do. ETH. So with ETH, I'm sure you're probably just interested in this down here, or you want the overall. All right, so ETH, we've got this. Let me get some of this off here. So same thing. ETH has the same arguments here, that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this a fourth and another fifth down? Okay. The difference in ETH is we've tagged the 1.618. Okay. So if ETH rolls over again, we've got a target of 593. Okay. These are overlapping beautifully. Right here on this support. All right. If this rallies up higher, well, this 4 can come pretty high. It just can't come into this area back here. But I wouldn't allow it to rally, you know, extremely high. I don't know what these are. Oh, it's probably my 200 and my 300. Let me leave those on there. But they're probably wrong. I haven't changed them in a while. Okay, so I've pretty much ruled out that this is an ABC from over here, but we're going to leave it on the table. But it can also be ABC from over here. And this C wave can even come deep to the 2.236. So it's not going to really matter what the count is. What matters the most is, do we roll over or do we rally? Okay? Because if we rally, this C can totally end here. And if we come down here, both this C and this C can end here, but we need to rally from that point. What we don't want to happen is this is starting with 5 waves. So if we roll over again in ETH, okay, we don't have that extra option to make a 4 and a 5 because of how low this will be already be. Okay. So once we roll over in ETH, we need to go. If we do this and another 5, we will be deeper than this yellow C allows and this white C allows, and that will be bad. That will mean that we are starting out with a 5-wave move, and it means no matter what, this will rally, and then we're getting another 5-wave, which means this bear market will probably go on for another year. Okay. So looking at ETH, it is telling us that if we roll over, we have got to rally after that rollover, or the bear market's going to get pretty ugly. Then down on the lower time frame, it's the same as Bitcoin. It can be argued that this is a 1. The correction would just be a little bit different, that it's like this, that this is 2 or B. And then hopefully we can rally through this resistance and fill in this insufficiency here. Or it'll bonk its head and head back down for the 5th wave. Or the bear scenario is that doesn't happen, and this is all that we were getting. This is it. That's the 3-wave move, and we're starting our way down to break this low and roll over again. Okay. So, ADA. I need to start saving these. So I'm going to leave them on here after I scribble. Okay, it's obvious, wave 1, wave 2. This looks like a complete 5-wave move. Obviously, it's beautiful. It's perfect. Don't look at that wick. That's a Kraken thing. This was its 4th wave territory. That if this was going to be a 4th and we kick up for a 5th, it really should have held there. Okay. It broke through, back tested it, and down it went. Now, it's not in its 1 yet. Okay. So, invalidation for this to be a 4 isn't until it comes into its 1 at 15 cents. But it's highly unlikely that it is a 4. Which actually, as deep as it's come, is better news. Because wouldn't you rather have a 1 and a 2? And now we're about to blast for a mega 3rd wave that's going to be gigantic. Because if this is a 1 and a 2, imagine how big the 3rd's going to be. Crazy. Like unimaginable crazy. I'd rather have 1 and 2 than this be 3, 4, 5, and all we get is a, break of the top here. I want the mega 3rd wave. So anyway, it's more likely that it's a 1 and a 2. Very choppy, very overlappy. That was the middle part. Okay, so it looks like we've got W, X, Y to here. Rally. This really looks like an ABC. Where we'd have W, X. Now we've created ABC. Here's our middle. Move this up a little bit. It's a little hard one here. Give me a second. Yeah, okay. I really think that this is all corrective. We got the W to here, the X to here. This was ABC. This is the little bit different. This is the connector. And that looks like a 5-wave move from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This part in here is where Bitcoin is. Right here. This little part is Bitcoin. Okay. So it looks like the same thing. Like this needs a partner leg. It may rally up. It can definitely do that. And then we get this move to the bottom. And I know it's a little messy. I'll fix it here. And then this ends up being our Y. And then it could potentially be done with one more rollover of, leg like that. This is really, really complex. It is definitely not coming down in any type of 5-wave move, which is good news. Because all of this is 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 again. Then we get a zigzag. Then we get 3, and now we got 5 waves. And now we're trucking sideways in a complex looking move, and it looks like we need one more rollover. And then it will have to get back through this resistance here. And it's underneath it. So I hope this helps. Oh, I skipped someone. Saul. Saul is beautiful. Like, I think this is one of the prettiest impulse waves I've ever seen. Okay. Right here's its 4th. Hasn't broken it yet. So it's on the table that this is a 3 and a 4. Once we take out these wicks, it's very less likely that it's a 3 and a 4. Okay, you can clearly see this is a connector here, connecting this leg to this leg. It's just a matter, is it going to give us connector and one more down move? Then it's obvious what it needs to do. Flip that back to support with a V-shaped recovery and get back through here. So this up here can be broken down the same way, and then we end up with a zigzag here, and then it ends it. If we can recover. Otherwise, the whole market will rally maybe, and then it gets a partner leg here, and that's how the bear market continues. Now, this took Did I not use the right thing? I guess I did. So this took 574 days. $574 is approximately May. So if we're in a 2, they usually take about the same amount of time as your 1 took. It's something to think about. They don't have to. They can take less time, but they definitely like to take about the same amount of time. Maddox, you can't wait to turn 21. I wish I was 21 again. All right, Maddox. Let's see if I can find this. USO 2-year? No. Are you asking for US oil? Maddox, if you're still here, let me know about that, okay? USO 2-year. I don't know what I'm... TVC is obviously what you want. Let me know if you're still here. All right. We'll come back to that if you're still here, Maddox. Okay, I'll do them for you. Your choice. I'm asking the smile theory on US dollar for your fundamental opinion on Euro US dollar. Can it hit 80 cents? Yeah, the euro is going to keep dumping as long as the US dollar is pumping. Okay, because it's complete inverse of it. So, if we were to flip this over, doesn't it look like the dollar? Look at that. It's the exact same thing. Just flipped. Okay, so as long every candle this makes in the US dollar to the upside, the euro's going to make to the downside. That's why they're very easy to trade. When you take a look, I mean, it's got the exact same shape as the DXY. No different, okay? So this spot, oh, it's reversed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do that. It's so to me, looking at the euro, it looks like we haven't tagged the third yet, because there's no way that this is the third. It's going to be down here, so it's probably going to overtake this pivot eventually. Yeah, it could probably hit 80 cents. Oh, 80 cents? Oh, I don't know. It's really down there. It would have to really go. I don't know about that. Maybe, though. Like I said, anything's possible, but that's really down there. And I do think the DXY is kind of close, you know. That's really far, though. It's possible, though, yeah. But whatever the DXY does, this is going to do the inverse. Okay. Okay, Maddox, you're still here. Copy and paste. So that whole thing? Oh. How come it won't let me click on it? There we go. Mercy. Well, this is obviously an ending. This is a beginning. Okay. And that looks pretty bullish. No divergence to speak of at the moment. This is a 1, 2, 1, 2. This is probably 3, 4 that goes with this 1 and 2 in here. So I would say this is nowhere close to being done. This is 3 when it ends, and then we're going to get a 4 and another one. It's pretty high right at the moment, so I would say we have 3, 4, and then 5. But this is the start of something, meaning that it will correct, and then it's headed up again, because what starts with 5 ends with 5. This is bonds. Okay, it's crazy bullish. Same thing here. This was the end of something, the start of something. And that's an impulse wave for sure. This is a 1, 2 to here. Did that overlap? I want to say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Three, probably not done yet. 4, 5. Yes. This 3's not in yet. Maddox, what does this mean, if you could tell us? I'm sure some of you know, but What does it mean when bonds are bullish? I guess I could look it up myself, but James, wait a minute, I gotta back up here. Yeah, Maddox, I think there's a nice bear trap coming. Maytag. Is this all the data? There we go. So this one is still under the question, is this going to hold? Okay. So that this can be a fourth wave. If it loses this territory, same thing across the board. They should hold their prior force. Okay. They should hold this. This is what wave fours find as support so that they can launch up again for a fifth. Even on a very small time frame, when you get a 1, 2, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? When this fourth wave comes down, it should hold its prior fourth. And the reason being, because if it doesn't, then this push from the third wave is all insufficiency. So if it loses it, it's just going to tank right on down. So that's why we want them to hold their prior force, because if they lose them, then all of this area is insufficiency, meaning that the market can just melt right through it very easily. Okay. So it's at a pivotal area right now that it needs to pivot. And if it can, and if it's not bullish, the bigger the B, the better, so that its partner leg can potentially be higher and do something like this where it can stay above here. But we'll go in closer and take a look. So the whole market's looking the same. That if this is going to be a 5-wave move, there's no way to do it except make this an expanding diagonal. Otherwise, this totally looks like 3 to me. And that's where we get into, if you're just tuning in, I started out with saying, you know, log versus linear, and if we put Bitcoin on linear, that it could still be a WXY. So this is a perfect example of it, that if it's not an expanding diagonal, okay, then it don't make much sense, because this clearly did not hit the 618. And what I'm getting at is, if you have a 3 and a 3 and then 5 for a flat, and then this is, say, 5 waves here, that can't be. We can't have 3, 3, 5 without this wave coming up to the 618. And that's my system. Everything in books and internets, they want this wave right here to come 90% of its A wave before they'll call it a flat. Okay, so here's where the problem lies. The whole market looks exactly like this. So if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be a 4, and we're going to go down for 5, this has to be an expanding diagonal. There's no other way to make this 5 waves. And the expanding diagonal has some issues in it. But if that's the case and we roll over again and it makes 5 waves, we're just going to have to accept it. Otherwise, we are making a complex structure where this was, A, B, C. This was a, connector, and we're going to get A, B, C again. But I'm more leaning that it's in this case here, that this is an expanding diagonal. Because this really looks pretty for a third wave. And this was an ending diagonal and a beautiful one. Let's look at this right here. In this case, this one looks like, see how you have this correction? And then these two equal legs? That's a perfect example of a zigzag. Then we've got this pullback. Then we have this that overlaps. So this is a potential 3-wave move also. So we have 3, 3, and then 3. Okay. So this can, if this wants to go higher, if Bitcoin decides it's going higher, what it'll do is turn all this into one move. It'll use this pullback. This would be W or A. Would use this pullback for B or X, and then it would launch up through the insufficiency for Y or C. But it's the same deal across all of these. This is the resistance that we got to break to fill in the insufficiency above. This is how it can do it. And right now it's all going to depend on, does this pull back correctively? It's got to pull back correctively and not give a 4th and a 5th. Okay. Mana. I think I have it in here. If I missed anybody, I apologize. I'm trying to go down the line. Looking at this, okay, and the way that this is, we've got this middle connector here. Then this leg partners with this leg. Then we have this flat in the middle. That's the connector between this leg and this leg. So here's the first leg, here's the connector. Now we need this partner leg. So this is really screaming that we're leaving this partner, this leg without a partner. And that what we think that move in Bitcoin that's going to happen, and then we're going to use this leg, that it could potentially happen based on the way this looks. So then this leg needs to partner that either doesn't get through the resistance or it flips it to support and launches and fills in the insufficiency. Now, the only way that won't happen is if we call this move its partner leg. But as you can see, we didn't hit the 618. And that's minimum requirement to say that this one is its partner. It should hit the 618, and it didn't. Now, if it's really bearish, it can happen, but it doesn't happen very often. So it's really screaming that this plague has not been used yet. And this is definitely a 1, and we're coming down for 2. If this breaks the low, okay, if it rolls over and breaks the low, what that means is that this has to start over, okay? Because if this is an impulse wave, 5-wave move, and we break the low of it, it's invalidating this being a 1 and a 2. So if this coin survives, then it just starts over, and when Bitcoin goes back on its bull run, then it starts this process again. Okay? That's the only thing you can do with it. So basically, you know, comes down, and then it starts the process again. And then if this goes on into history, years from now, then 20 years from now, people doing their analysis, they will start from that low. This will just be price action before it, finding its range, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I know that a lot of people are calling XRP like a 1 to 1 to something like that. They were calling it, but we obviously broke this low. I think that it could be a diagonal. The 5th wave doesn't have to hit the trend line, and usually they don't in this type of diagonal. And then this is the pullback, and this is a 1 and a 2. Obviously, we can't take this low out. This looks like a diagonal, potentially. Pullback that could be A, B, and now we're working on C. Obviously, if it wants to get ugly, it will make this a 5-wave move where this is a 1 and this is a 2. But hopefully that won't happen. And it just makes ABC, Bitcoin rolls over one more time, and then they're all on their way. Or if that's the case and it's going to rally, it rallies big. The higher the B wave, the better, because then this leg gets a partner and it could potentially never break this low again. And then this becomes a bullish correction, and then it's on its way. But we don't want 5 waves. We don't want this to be 1, 2, 3, pulls back for 3, 5. We don't want this. Okay, because that means what starts with 5 ends with 5, and it will break this low. But all of the... So if this were to roll over again, we are going to get 2-day divergence right here. And that is enough to turn this significantly. All of the bear markets had, in Bitcoin, had 2-day, 4-day divergence. And we'll have 2-day if it rolls over again. Just checking to make sure the live stream's okay. James, it's nice that you have the courage to speak your mind in the stream. That takes courage. Let's see if we can get more data. My friend, Jim of All Trades, I'm sure a lot of you know him. He speaks his faith in his streams. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Impulse wave. It really needs to hold this area here. Because if it doesn't, this is all insufficiency. So if it loses this area here, it's just going to drop right on down to this area. Here's a perfect example where it really looks like 3 off the top. But this one might have come high enough. Yes, it did. Okay. So to me, this one looks like a flat right now. That either we're going to pivot or hopefully it will hold this support. And all of this looks the same down here, but this one really looks like 3. Which means this is most likely an A if we're going to hold this as a C and a middle connector. Which a C wave can get high and it can fill this insufficiency in. But we need to not break this A wave here. Because you can see if we lose this right here, there's nothing much underneath. And it's just probably going to start the 1, 2, 3 on down and break this low. So it's really got to hold in here. IMX. So this is the bottom part. We'll just go over it first because I'm here. This is the same thing. It needs to hold this type of correction. And it'll give this one a partner. If it can get through here, then it can fill in this insufficiency. This doesn't really look like an impulse wave to me, but it could be argued as one, just like Bitcoin. I don't know if it has more data than this. Probably. It just looks like ABC. You can clearly see it. Here's the first leg. Here's the second leg. And then it's all a matter, are we going to roll over again? Or is this the bottom? I don't think it's the bottom. I think we will eventually roll over again. And I don't know if there's more data back here. So if there's a low back here that's underneath this, we don't want to break it. We want to stay above it. But if not, okay, say this is the data, then same thing you're looking for. 5-wave move off the bottom. You don't want to see any overlapping waves in it. Sort of the way this looks. But that's a B wave. It's an ABC. So you would get an extra little fourth and a fifth if it was an impulse wave. PYR. PYR. Looks the same. Guess that's it. So we have a leg, connector, and now a leg. Okay. Same thing. This is the high that it needs to get over. If it doesn't, then one more down. We'll go in here and look at this. But this is the high we got to get over. Okay? So let's go down and look. I can't really make a trend line. I was going to try. This doesn't look too good. All of this mess down is corrective. Sort of looks like an ending diagonal in a way. But I don't think so. I think that same thing. This is the 3 waves over here. All of this mess is a correction, and it's trying to give this leg a partner to the upside. But it looks It doesn't look good. And this climb is overlappy and corrective. Can't make a diagonal out of it. But it does look like what it's trying to do is make this a connector and potentially give this leg a partner, and that is how it will try to go higher. Probably up to resistance. This doesn't have the look to be able to break up through the insufficiency. It just doesn't have the wave structure. But it could give something like this. But then it would be coming back down. I don't see any wave structure in here that would take it higher. Can't make a 1 anywhere, a 5-wave move. Fortunately, this one looks really bearish. Vet. This one really looks like it's missing its 5th wave. Like I would say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. That doesn't look like a 5-wave move, but it could be. No, that overlapped. So, but it can't come into its 1. So in this case, I would say it had a 5th failure because Bitcoin failed to go higher. Yeah, you see this high peak? That would have been the 3rd. Beautiful pullback for a 4th. This should have been the 5th. This has an overlap. So this is the leg. This is a 3-wave move connector, connecting this leg to this leg. This one has a connector in the middle. Looks like a WXY to me so far. If this ends up getting deeper, then it'll be a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and it'll be A, B, and then this would be C. But right now, it looks like WXY. Same thing. This really looks like a 3-wave move. If we're going to pop, we got to hold this as a 3 and then pop up, and hopefully it'll fill this in. If it can flip this to the support, it can go higher. This can get pretty high if it wants to. All the way up here. Okay, I'll do one more, guys. Brandon, hopefully you're still here. XD, if you're still here, it's the VP. I talked about it earlier. VRVP, and change your row size to 480. All right, CLSK. there a dollar sign in front of it? No. Not finding it. Brandon? I don't know what I'm typing in wrong. I'm sorry. Let's do AVAX. Sorry about that. If you type it in the bottom, I'll look. If you're still here, I'll chart it. Oh, we must have did this one. So same thing, 3-wave move. If it can hold this middle correction, it'll pop. If it breaks the A wave, it's probably just coming down. And I see it as a A, B, C. All right, guys, I really appreciate you sticking it out with me this long. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you. That's all I got to say, really. Think about the course. One last thing I'll say, that most people never really master a system, okay? They jump around from indicator to indicator. I did the same thing, guys. I totally did. Spent a few years playing around, spinning the wheel, before I just knuckled down and stuck with one system till I mastered it. And my system, it is not just Elliott Wave, guys. It's so much more than that. Check out my website. You'll see what it's all about. And I really appreciate you guys sticking it out with me, and have a great day, okay? All right.